Hi guys, so we're here live again with Gareth, and today we're going to talk about modern medicine, the alternative views and our environment, and what that means to you guys, and try and make that as easy to understand as possible. So today Gareth is going to start talking about his current view on modern medicine and the history of that, where it comes from, and some alternative views that happened around the same time that was kind of founded. Gareth, we've spoken about this loads of times before, but if you can kind of start telling the people on Facebook what your opinions are and where modern medicine comes from.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So what I want to talk about really is the history of it all, where it comes from, different views, and how that kind of shapes how we live our lives today.
Yeah.
So basically, modern medicine was formed and still is based on something called germ theory. So germ theory is a theory. It's based on the fact that any presence of bacteria, germs, viruses will cause illness. And this was formed by a French microbiologist called Louis Pasteur. Lots of people have probably heard of him. And that's where the idea of pasteurising milk comes from. It's the idea that we heat the milk up, we kill the bacteria to make it safe. So during this time, this formed the basis of modern medicine, and that's why today that's how modern medicine is run. What is interesting is that around the same time there was lots of alternative theories going on, but it just came to light that his Louis Pasteur's theory was the one that held through, and having done so, it saved millions of lives, of course.
Yeah.
But at the time there was another French guy. He was a chemist. His name was Antoine Beauchamp, and he had an alternative view, which at the time was widely accepted against with some highly intellectual minds at the time. In fact, when he died, it took 8 pages of an intellectual journal just to list his achievements. So he was he really did know what he was doing.
Yeah.
So his theory was called the cell theory of disease, and it was not that the presence of the bacteria or the viruses caused illness; it was the environment in which they sat.
Yeah.
So he used the analogy of the soil, and that if the bodily tissues were kind of healthy, like a healthy soil, then plants would grow, or the person would be in a state of health.
Yeah.
So if the bacteria was present in a kind of toxic tissue, then illness would kind of ensue. Yeah, exactly. And so it was all about building health from within. So there was lots of kind of natural hygiene practitioners drinking vials of bacteria and they're absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Kind of trying to disprove Pasteur's germ theory. Now, why that's important to us is because we're not trying to say that one is better than the other, because it is what it is. But at the same time, I think it's important to understand that we need to build health from within.
Yeah, and as you were saying before, like the element of getting ill is almost like our body trying to cleanse ourselves of a problem. And we're constantly using modern medicine now to actually suppress these actually healing benefits of the body. And we've got to remember the body's evolved over thousands and millions of years to act and react in the way it does. So when it's like the same example I always use for people using ice is say, is the inflammatory response of the body a mistake?
No.
Of course, we have chronic inflammation, which is bad and we need to deal with, but the chronic inflammation is only a symptom.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about antibiotics, for instance. So if you want to take people through your...
I mean, if you think just day to day, we breathe in thousands and thousands of bacteria and germs every hour. But our body will fight that off. Yeah. Fight it off, or whether it's not in the presence of a diseased tissue, who knows? But either way you look at it, we're trying to build immunity from within. So you see lots and lots of people, they might have some kind of chest infection, something going on, they'll take antibiotics to supposedly fight off this bacteria. Yeah. But then it always keeps coming back. So if we were to view it from Beauchamp's theory, it would be that it wasn't the presence of the bacteria that was the problem, and hence the antibiotics won't get into the true cause of the problem. Yeah. The true cause was the fact that the person wasn't essentially healthy enough from within. The state of their body was toxic. And then the symptoms of illness that we see, maybe it's a runny nose, fever, sweating. Yeah. If you consider, people just think, oh, it's a symptom, I need to suppress it, I need to take a tablet, I want to get rid of it. but what is the body actually trying to achieve? It's not stupid.
Yeah.
You know, why do you get a runny nose? To get rid of bacteria. Why do you sweat? To increase temperature, to kill off things. So everything is happening for a reason, and I think we think our mind, in terms of the mind, we think we know more than the body. So we think, that's a bad thing, I'll do something to stop it.
Yeah.
So I think we need to just respect our body.
Well, in this sense, it's going back to the same point we made in the last talk, where we were saying range of motion, for instance. The reason why you can't physically move into a certain range of motion is down to the body protecting you from a greater evil, rather than the actual problem being the range of motion in your hamstring. It's actually the problem is what's caused the lack of range of motion in your hamstring.
Exactly.
So again, we're looking at causes rather than symptoms. I mean, and then if we start looking at our environment as well, and what might be causing these cell issues, the issues on a cellular level, this cell theory. Start looking at our environmental exposures, our stimulus from our environment, just like the reason why we've got me wearing these strange sunglasses only in the evening or indoors. To deal with blue light exposure, which we'll be talking about next time. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about other environmental issues?
Yeah, I mean, if we look at more modern research, coming away from earlier theories, and we look at things like epigenetics, which is a kind of fairly new field of research, looking at the environmental effect on genetics. So when our understanding of DNA and genetics came about, it was very kind of clear-cut. It's genetic, that's what it is, you can't change that. But as we're learning more, we're appreciating that, in fact, around DNA, there's certain protein molecules that can change and actually affect the expression of DNA. And it comes down to even the thoughts that we have, the food that we eat, the places that we live. All of these things affect our DNA and can actually change, potentially, the expression of it. So, although you may be genetically predisposed to something, the environment will actually and can change that predisposition.
Yeah, completely. So again, looking at there's lots of evidence to say nutritional stimulus can upregulate and downregulate DNA or gene regulation, environmental temperature, even emotional stimulus. Hence why meditation has been such a powerful tool in the past, or in the recent scientific studies. Shown meditation increasing sarcomeres in DNA and increasing, changing grey matter size. So we've got lots of evidence to suggest environmental changes through DNA. So what we're going to look at next time, we're going to look at light exposure.
All the environmental things that people don't normally go to. We see food as the kind of highest priority in terms of our environment. But in fact, there's other environmental factors as well.
I was actually having a discussion with Camilla the other day about this. I was saying, it seems to me the more and more I research, the more and more I study, the more and more I find food is actually not the biggest priority in creating a change for health. I mean, in terms of getting organic food is obviously always going to be best and better. You know, it's like if you're saying what you should do is organic all the way. But the types of food that you need to concentrate on getting organic are like your meats and fishes. And then the things you actually need to concentrate more on for your health is like hormone and chemical reduction and light exposure and even electromagnetic frequencies, EMFs. They seem to be just having so much more of a profound effect on our health. Before our body can even digest or use the nutrients from the food properly, it seems to be that your body has to be in a good state, otherwise it doesn't matter what you put in it.
Exactly.
You could eat. I saw someone drinking paint the other day on Facebook and saying they're addicted to drinking paint and they're still alive. So our bodies can put up with a hell of a lot if we just keep ourselves in a good state. So have you got anything else for today's topic?
I think just taken away from it. I think it doesn't matter, having based on what I've talked about briefly, different theories of disease. I don't think it really matters which way you view it. If you consider that you're going to build health from within, and that's going to prevent the dis-ease, state of disease, dis-ease. And the ways to build that health from within are things that we're going to talk about, and obviously things that we already have. But I think it's just being mindful of your own body. I think today everyone has a real get-go attitude.
Yeah.
You know, it's right, let's get on with this, let's do this. We get ill, and that's a bit of a nuisance.
Yeah.
And we want to carry on and go through it. And I think we need to be more respectful of our bodies and actually listen to it. If we are ill, we need to rest. It's a simple fact. If you don't, it's going to get worse. And something as simple and basic as that, people tend to ignore.
Yeah.
You know,
completely. And also, if it's reoccurring, we need to find the cause rather than keep following the symptoms or chasing the pain.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, right. So thank you guys for watching. That's it for today. Next talk, we'll be going to go over light exposure, EMFs, and other environmental stimulus that can affect our health and everything else. Oh, I've got. Oh, lovely. All right. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for the comment. I've just seen that one. Yes, you're correct. Right, yeah. So, bye for now. And also, quick note that tomorrow I will be talking with Laszlo Freeman on mindset. On Wednesday, I'll be talking with Ed Howley, who owns the Floatworks, about flotation tanks and anti-stim, or decreasing the stimulus, and what effect that has on our hormones and our chemical structures of our body, and all the health benefits that brings. And on Friday, I'll be speaking to Rob Kavanagh, who is very high-level leading physiotherapist in London, who is pioneering in the neurology world, who also works with the Epic, and Gareth. He owns Epic and is the host for the PDTR courses. And we're going to be talking about a superhuman environment on Friday. So thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned this week for all the upcoming videos. And if you don't know what these are for, this is for my event that I'm talking at on the 13th of August, called Unleash Your Superhuman and Master Your Life. Search up the details. I'll tag the link in below for the event. Turn up to the event on the 13th of August in the Bermondsey Square Hotel. Alright, see you guys. That's it for today.